Welcome to the Fran Snyder podcast, where I talk to artists and music fans to explore how music connects us through great stories and experiences. Brought to you by the Listening Room Network. Today's guest, Mare Wakefield and Nomad. How are you today?
Hey, Fran, we're good actually. It's a beautiful day here in Nashville. The sun is shining. It's about 70 degrees. It's like a crisp kind of fall day for here.
Great to see you. So, what else can we want? Wonderful.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's great to see you guys as well. I forget, I've not seen your place. You guys are you with the cool kids in East Nashville, or where are you?
East
Yeah.
Nashville,
Yeah.
smack dab in the middle. Yep.
And how long have you been there?
Since '07, so 13 years now.
13 years. All right. So you timed it right. You didn't try to move 2 years ago.
Back
Uh,
back when it was dodgy. That's when the musicians were moving in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you guys cleaned it up. It's good. Good. So last time I saw you guys was at Judy's here in St. Petersburg. Nomad took me out to pretend fishing. We acted like we were going to catch some stuff.
Not true. We caught a bunch of fish, but they were like these little fish.
We caught bait.
Bait.
We bought some bait so we could catch some more bait. But that's always been my experience of fishing, so I can't blame that on you. That's par for the course for me. Either that or catching a boot or an electric eel.
Yeah.
So like so many artists now who are home for an extended amount of time, you guys have gotten into gardening. So you got all the fish and veggies you can eat, right?
All the fish. So much fish.
He goes fishing about once a week. He hasn't had much luck lately.
No.
But the garden's been great. We still have the garden going. There's arugula still growing. The basil's still going, actually. There's like 3 eggplants coming, right?
We get a couple handfuls of okra here and there. It's not bad, but mostly it's just very zen. It's just such a wonderful connection with the earth, and
Yeah.
it's something that we've always wanted to do, but we're always on the road. In the past 10 years, we were on average probably on the road 5-6 months a year, and usually those were the spring and summer months.
Yeah.
So
Right.
no gardening, no flowers, couldn't do anything at home. So this has been definitely a silver lining for sure.
Yeah. So you guys are like super grounded. Do you go out walking barefooted too and get the soil in between your toes?
Totally zero stress, no anxiety. We are like, everything is wonderful.
Oh,
So yeah, so speaking of stress and anxiety, where were you guys when the news hit that the music business was over?
yeah.
Like, were you guys on the road when it happened, or?
We were preparing to get on the road, and we were working on a record. So we were rushing, trying to get a record out, because in May and June we were going to be in Europe, and then the rest of the year we were going to be touring in the US. So then, as we're working, all these news start coming out: pandemic, Italy, this, that, and then eventually the Germany Europe tour started to get
It
canceled.
happened. I think it happened for us in stages, really,
Right.
because we had like a kind of a regional North Carolina tour in April, and so first that got canceled. And we're like, okay, April, obviously not going to happen. And then we're like, come on, Germany in June, and then and then Germany got canceled, and then we still had our big U.S. tour planned for August, September, October. And I remember when the first August cancellation came in, and that was still maybe like April, they started canceling for August, and I was like, oh, come on, by August it'll be fine. And obviously it wasn't. And so it was kind of like a slow ramp up to realizing, like we kept thinking, okay, this tour is not happening, but maybe the next one will. And
Right.
that kept, that kind of, it was like a domino effect or something.
And hypothetically, we still have dates on the books for Florida in January. We have about 2 weeks worth of gigs there that officially we have not canceled. But I mean, come on, those are not going to happen either. So
It doesn't.
I don't know. I'm a little more optimistic. I think a lot can happen in the next couple of months, and we had enough foolish people here in Florida to really spice up the herd immunity. So we just rescheduled the Listening Room Festival for March.
Oh, great.
So we're thinking 4 or 5 months from now, we'll work it out. This is not going to go on like this. It's going to get better. Even if it gets worse temporarily in patches here and there, different parts of the world, I think the general trend is probably going to be towards the better. If not immediately, I think within a few months.
It
Yeah.
will.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm optimistic. I wouldn't go canceling those January shows yet, but keep your fingers crossed and keep the rest of your calendar open so you can reschedule. I know obviously you started gardening, but in terms of music, how are you musicking now?
I think that the biggest change and the biggest way that we're still staying connected to an audience is through the live streams that we've been doing on Facebook. And that was a big ramp up, a big learning curve to not only to get all the audio and video stuff right, because that's a big challenge. And we didn't just want to be like playing in front of a phone, on a desk. I mean, people do that and that's fine, but
Yeah, our sound is also more complicated.
Yeah.
Like it's like 2 acoustic guitars are easier to manage, but like a big old piano and an acoustic guitar is
and
harder.
also just getting used to playing into an empty room
Oof.
and looking into a camera and hearing silence after every song and silence after every joke. I mean, I think that for me that was the hardest part of it, was just trying to still summon that performing energy and connecting energy in an empty room, essentially.
It seems like more and more artists are bridging the gap by having someone in their network sort of administrate the live stream so they can sort of feed questions. Sometimes it's somebody in the room with you, or somebody online can mute and unmute the audience so when they're clapping you can hear them, depending on how you're doing the setup. But it's interesting to see how artists are finding ways to evolve the live stream into something that's a little bit more give and take, a little bit more natural feeling. But it does seem to require help.
And we are lucky because we have each other. So it's
Right.
not
We
as
have each other. Oh, so lucky.
it's not as solo as you imagine. I mean, we can talk to each other, we can joke with each other, like these little applause buttons and whatever. So we have a couple little toys
yeah.
with us too.
Well, and actually, I think this is pretty important to note that people who were watching the early live streams from the beginning, a song would end and we'd say, "Oh, I wish I had one of those applause buttons. We need some sound effects over here." And then these little packages started showing up on our front porch. People would go and there's one woman that had bought us 2 different buttons. One is an applause button that you just hit it and woo, and then the other one is you can record whatever you want on it. So you can
Nice.
laughter or yay or boo, whatever. And then we started taking just all kinds of wacky requests. And you've seen our regular show, and people can request a song of ours, but we're not like gonna play Brown Eyed Girl. We're not like a cover band in that way. But if we have enough heads up, we've started taking requests for covers, including jazz tunes. So every show now we have
that actually a slight segue off route, but it is again related to how we're musicking these days. Now because we're home, because it's a different platform and it's again a different instrument, we on the road on a keyboard, I don't like playing jazz. It just doesn't come out right. But here we started playing some jazz songs. Mary is learning a whole new vocabulary. I'm learning a whole new vocabulary. And it is really fun. It comes out really good. And it is stretching us both as musicians. So that has been really exciting. And it has been like a whole new growth spurt.
absolutely
In a different direction. Oh, we did one night that was only Carp Enters.
Yeah, this is the Carp Enters.
Yes, the Carp Enters project. We did a Carp Enters night.
Oh man, that was fun.
That was awesome. Learning like 10 new songs with all these arrangements that I'm trying to squeeze into one single piano part.
And background vocals. Nobody really stepped up on the background vocals because Richard sings a lot of those parts and oohs and ahs, and the songs really need them. And so
and it was super challenging, but super fun too, because it's just so like a little left field for us. So that was great. So yeah, in general, music is going, I would say, surprisingly well, given the circumstances.
And it's
Yeah.
it's we feel like we're still connecting with people, like we do, like between the requests and the we started doing trivia. We'll ask a trivia question in one live stream, and whoever wins, we'll try to quickly write a little silly song for them for the next live stream. So just trying to be as interactive as we can with this new medium.
And Nomad, I understand you're doing some sort of remote recording and remote producing for folks.
Right.
Tell me about, I guess, some of the recent projects you've been working on.
So, for example, there was one guy in North Carolina, Vladimir Dubchak, and I think he must be somehow involved in his church's music program or something like that. So he writes worship music, religious music in Russian. He's Ukrainian, and I make like productions, MIDI orchestrations for him that he asks me to just kind of do, and I send him the files back. Never met the guy in person, never talked to him on the phone. We connected on a website that brings music creators with people who need music produced for whatever platform.
It's Air something. What's the name of the?
Airgigs.com.
Airgigs.com. Yeah, that's something I wanted to check out.
Yeah, so I have a profile up there as a producer, as an arranger, and as a keyboard player, as a session player. So the guy found me there, looked at some of my previous stuff. Then I still have 2 records that I started earlier this year that got interrupted because of the COVID. So on and off, the singer-songwriters would still come in and do little parts and add on to that project. So that keeps going.
Or if we need a drum track, we have a drummer that we work with in town who has his studio. So he can record his part and send it over. Like there's a lot you can do without having to be in the same room.
Yeah, there was a dude from the Netherlands. He wanted 2 songs, and he wanted actual acoustic piano. So not electronic stuff, not samples. He wanted piano tracks for his songs. So I arranged those and played those. Yeah. So there's like a trickle of work that keeps coming in, and there are a couple of those previous gigs that are still continuing. And again, if I were on the road, these would not be happening. Somehow we're just repositioning ourselves and retooling. And
one other thing I just realized I forgot to mention earlier, we're doing songs to order. So like if someone, especially with the holidays coming up, whatever, someone wanted to have a song written for like their mom or their partner, we could, I would call them and interview and ask, okay, tell me about this person, tell me what you want to feature in the song.
So like a song commission, yeah.
Right, a song commission written specially for a certain person or for a certain situation.
Is that available on your website? Is it?
That should be available on our website.
Why is it not?
What a great idea, Fran. Well, I sent it out to the mailing list.
We're not good marketing people.
I don't know, this whole business thing, Thank you for that genius idea, Fran.
So yeah, we'll put the word out for you. Yeah, that's a really cool thing. It was actually one of the more endearing stories that I heard from one of the artists in these interviews was that as soon as COVID hit, there were a couple of house concerts who reached out to him. Like before the artists had made their own plans about what they were going to search for and offer and all that, they was like, these hosts reached out and said, we don't know how you're going to survive. Like what can we do? How can we help? Can you write a theme song for a house concert series? And so that just, that stuff just really warms my heart. And I think song commissions is one of those things that that are going to become more and more popular just because artists are opening themselves up to that idea now.
Yeah.
We played a Zoom wedding last weekend.
We played a Zoom wedding.
Really?
And those guys, that was a Florida connection. I don't know if you know them. They hosted us years ago. They were volunteers with the South Florida Folk Festival.
Okay.
And these guys, they just wanted to provide a bed and breakfast for musicians. So we were assigned to those guys. And it turns out this couple, they had both lost their previous spouses years ago to cancer and had been going through a long period of grief and this and that. And eventually they met online. And that weekend, when they were hosting us, was the first time they actually started dating and doing something together. So this whole concert festival situation brought those guys together. And since then, they've hosted house concerts for us. We've been there in person. And just recently, this past Sunday, they got married, and we were the wedding band.
That's fantastic.
True.
So to reminisce a little bit, actually, let's go back to when you guys first discovered house concerts. Do you recall your first house concert, where it was, and how it came about?
For me, I've been performing on stages since I was 17 years old, and so I can remember some early house concerts before I even met Nomad. I mean, at first it was kind of nobody really knew. It was kind of like a party where you'd be kind of playing in a corner, and it wasn't what they've become today. But let me think about our first house concert together.
One of the earliest ones that I remember that were actually a concert, not some kind of gathering with some music on the side. Yeah. It may have been the Roseburg conservationists community, but not the one in the auditorium with the university, but the one in that lady's house. You remember? You don't.
I love it.
I mean, this would have been, like 2006 or 8, something like that.
I think a better answer, a more accurate answer is
we
can't even really remember. But we have built, like, our touring life was the foundation of our life, of our income, was house concerts.
Mm-hmm.
And including this past tour that just got canceled with COVID. I mean, if there were probably 50 shows, and I would say at least 30 of them, like more than half of them, were house concerts.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of repeat business. So we play some series, like a lot of the ones that you're familiar with. But we also have a lot of friends who are fans who they host only us. And I'm sure a lot of artists have people like that, where they only host this one thing one time a year, and know, and so we have a lot of repeat business that way, and it's the way we get to see everybody.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these people have become like family members for us. And I can think of house concert hosts that we've gone to spend Christmas with or Thanksgiving with. And so it really is, it becomes like a family, and the level of intimate connection that you get to make, not just with the host, but also with every single person that's there, because you're in a home and you're close together, and usually you'll do a set, take a break, and chat, and you really get to meet each other and connect with each other. And I love that about house concerts.
Back when I was touring a lot, I used to joke that I visit friends for a living,
Right.
Basically.
Exactly. And I think that's what I am probably missing the most. Like, we're getting some musical growth, and we're getting stretched in different fun directions, and I'm really enjoying that. But the Facebook live stream, as wonderful as it is, and as thankful as I am that it exists, it's not really the same as being in the room, and I do miss that.
Oh yeah. There's a different kind of magic that happens when you're actually in the room with people.
If you are enjoying this podcast, can you pause for a moment to like, review, and subscribe? Please help the world discover our music community and the wonderful artists we support. Your feedback makes a difference. Certainly. So I don't think I know this. How did you two meet originally?
We met at music school at Berklee College of Music in Boston.
Okay. And Nomad, you're from Turkey originally. Was this like your first trip to the US, or had you already moved here,
Well,
or?
it was not. I had a lot of music education in Turkey, in Istanbul, classical conservatory education. And then I went to business school because nobody in Turkey, unless you are from a musical family, considers music or any kind of arts professionally. It just, people don't do it if you are from a family that already doesn't do it. Anyway, business school, and then I started working for Sony Music as a marketing manager for Columbia Records. Um, and during that period, I got to come to the United States once for like a promo campaign that I launched in Turkey for a Ricky Martin record.
Really?
And yeah, and the winner of that promo thing, it was like some kind of
Contest.
contest. The winner of that program got to go meet Ricky Martin when he performed in the winter, I guess, at Rockefeller Plaza, like on an ice stage. Like the stage was all made of ice. It was so cool. Yeah, and I got to meet him too. I got to shake his hand, and God, he's pretty. So that was my first time in the United States. That was New York, and I was there all together for like 2 days. That was it. Like flew in, did that thing, and then flew back.
So then, how did Berklee get on your radar?
Oh, so how did Berklee get on my radar? I always wanted to do music. I actually, even as a kid, I wanted to do music, but it just, again, you don't consider it because it doesn't seem like a real option to you if you're not from those circles. And at Sony Music, so there I have my real job, hypothetically, supposedly a career, and then the MP3 crisis or the MP3 revolution happened, and I saw how that entire industry overnight just came down, just burnt all the way down. I saw how my bosses were getting fired or losing their jobs or just terminating entire offices, so there clearly was no future for me. I had just gotten started, and I always wanted to play music. So anyway, so that was a good way to just kind of end that path. And
Berkeley's pretty well known internationally. I think more international,
yeah,
like Europeans and Turks, know about Berkeley than Americans.
yeah,
honestly,
that's
like,
true.
and when we were there 01 to 04. It was 60% international students.
Oh wow, I had no idea.
So Berkeley is more known outside of the U.S. than in, I
Yeah.
think, because you'd heard about it for a long time in Turkey, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew about it.
So.
And yeah, and then my parents were in a position to send me abroad and just support me there for a couple of years. And I actually applied for a school in New York, NYC. I applied for Miami's music program. They got a
Yeah,
one.
yeah, they do.
And I think I applied for one in London. And then did I try one in Canada? I can't remember. And then yeah, Berklee gave me like a small scholarship, but so that was a good incentive. And some of the others just outright didn't even take me, and it was a pretty easy
choice. You don't need to say that. Don't say that. Nobody needs to know that.
It's fine.
They all wanted you.
He can
clamoring. Edit that out.
Edit that out. He can edit that out.
That's great. So were you on the same track though? Like, were you scheduled to sort of graduate at the same time, or?
Yeah. We had, Nomad and I had, we both had previous college degrees, and we both had tested out of the first level of ear training. Ear training is a mandatory course in Berklee, which is awesome. Love ear training. And we both had tested out of level 1. So we were new students, level 2 ear training, and he was sitting behind me. First day of class, right? And so the teachers, so we were all new students there, all a little, relatively musical, like we kind of had our bearings a little bit with music and stuff. And the teacher's calling roll, and I hear the teacher kind of stumble over this like he's making. I'm thinking like hairball, whatever. And then this voice from behind me goes, "Oh, that's me, but I'm going by a nickname here. Call me Nomad." and that's the first impression that I had of this man. I couldn't even see him. I heard him where I saw him, and it was this voice saying, "Call me Nomad," and I was just, my life was forever changed.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know for sure I had not heard that story before. That's killer. In terms of, I guess, what's going on with you guys going forward? I know you've got to stay flexible in terms of you don't know which gigs are going to materialize and which ones aren't. How are you planning for 2021 now? And what do you have in the works? So you guys working on new material? Like, I know you're trying to keep things interesting for live streams.
We have 2 records worth of new material that's actually already produced. One of those records is actually even fully finished and mixed.
It needs to be mastered.
It needs to be mastered.
We'll have it soon.
Yeah, and one of them is more our regular stuff, like folksy, rootsy material that will probably keep us on the house concert touring circuit. And the other record, intentionally, is more of a poppy band rhythm section, produced a more contemporary sound. And that stuff, I feel like, would not translate as much anyway in a smaller room, just the 2 of us. Like, you need a band with electric guitars and synthesizers for it. So that record, I've been looking forward for that one for a while, because we're going to try to pursue a little bit of a publishing career with that material as well. See if we can build a bigger YouTube following, see if we can create some kind of Spotify buzz with it. I mean, I know there's no material return for that, even if you have 1 million followers. I mean, that doesn't mean much in terms of career and money, but that might translate into a publishing career. That might maybe get us placements in TV or film. So that is like a parallel universe that I'm starting to dip my toes into. We'll see what happens.
Good. And so live stream wise, what do you feel is missing for you guys in terms of technology, or what you feel needs to improve for you guys?
I need to sing better.
And I'm perfect as I am. No.
Yeah.
Well, the challenge for the live stream, I mean, I don't know if anything can be done about this. There is a bit of a lag. It can be anywhere from like 60 seconds up to almost like 2.5 minutes. If you're live, if you're playing, you're like, "Hey, you guys, what do you want to hear next?" And then you're like waiting for someone to comment. You're going to be waiting about 2 minutes. So it's not like this instant thing.
But that's not on us, though.
It's not on us.
That's Facebook's built-in lag time.
Well, I doubt there's anything they can even do about that.
Whatever you broadcast actually hits the audience a minute later.
That's weird. For some reason I didn't know that.
A lot of people don't know that.
Because all the latency issues that I heard about was like multiple people trying to play at once through different connections, and there's no way to do that. But you're saying that there can be a full minute or more of delay when you are broadcasting live?
In fact, last night I was trying to watch just a friend of mine. It wasn't even music related, but he was trying to give a talk. So he was like, hello, friends, can you hear me? And then he was watching the comments to see if someone would say, "We can hear you." And of course, people couldn't. They were typing, "We can hear you." But he didn't know that he was like 2 minutes, and he's over in India. So it could have been like 5 minutes longer. He didn't realize that there was that lag. And so he was like, "Friends, can you hear me? Hello, someone comment." He was getting almost agitated, this guy.
You can see his beard growing in as he's waiting for comments.
One thing that would be really awesome,
yes,
for the live streams to like get to a whole new level for us. We have a system where we can take a separate camera, a separate sound system, and feed the video and the audio into one box that combines it.
Are you using is that OBS, or is it one of those deals? Okay.
Yeah. So OBS is the software that combines the separate video and audio feed. So all the audio happens on a mixing board, not on a computer, and all the video happens on the camera. It gets combined in a box, which goes into OBS. And then from there, you stream it. Great. And it's synchronized. So there are higher end boxes, and they're not super cheap. There are higher end boxes that can take multiple video shoots, multiple video feeds, and still take your chosen audio feed and then combine that in OBS. So that means if I could hire one producer / audio guy, I could bring a band in here. Behind me is my drum room in my studio. You can see it.
Yeah.
I could be on the piano, drummer could be there, a bass player could be here, Mary could be here, and 4 different cameras on each one of us.
Well, we even have a couple different, like we could have people in different rooms.
Right.
So we wouldn't need to all be wearing masks or whatever, because you can't sing with a mask on.
I mean, I'm even thinking post-COVID. There's no reason why we shouldn't be doing live streams in a post-COVID world. Why not?
Right.
So that means we would actually become a tiny little mini TV studio with a producer saying, oh, guitar solo, hit a button, screen cuts to the guitar guy. Or Mary is singing, cut to a wide screen, like a wide shot screen where most of the band is visible. So like TV control room. That would be pretty dope. Yeah. That would be cool.
All right. So you're using a box outside of before you even get into OBS. To combine video and audio.
Right.
And
because something needs to be able to convert the analog audio sound into digital audio.
Okay, so that wouldn't be the case if you were using like a digital audio workstation, right? You wouldn't need the box.
You wouldn't need the box, but then you would need still a different kind of audio interface. That talks to your computer. Okay.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I don't want to go too much in the weeds, but I know that there's a lot of artists and even hosts in our network who are interested in live streams and are getting involved in doing it and always looking for ways to upgrade. So it's I don't think it's a wasted conversation. Man, I love you guys. I can't wait for you guys to come back. I think it's January that you're scheduled, right?
That's
yes. I hope it all works out.
Fingers crossed.
And we need to play some backgammon rematch games. The last one did not go well for me, and I have not forgotten.
I have to tell you that Judy's been kicking my butt for several years, and I've been on a research. I've had the surge of wins. I took some big ones back from her. Wow. And so now she's trying to chip away at my stack again. So it's great.
Okay, good. That's good. You guys practice. I'll be coming in hot and ready.
We're gonna get some special dice that roll only double sixes.
That only you get to roll.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, guys. Be well. Great to reconnect with you, and we'll connect in person down the road.
Okay, Fran, sounds good.
Love
you a lot. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Fran Snyder podcast. Please subscribe, like, or share to help your friends discover this community. Also, I'd love to hear from you with any feedback or suggestions you have. And if you'd like to learn more about house concerts and listening rooms around the world, please visit and join listeningroomnetwork.com. You can email me from there. See you next time on the Fran Snyder podcast.